Good afternoon, teachers. My greatest welcome to every one of you and welcome to the new semester. Thank you for being part of the team and thank you for being our greatest assets, for being one of the tutors on the team to help our students when it comes to academic writing and speaking. Thank you so much. Today in this session that we will be having a highly interactive and also student-centered approach to help you to get an experience of what the tutoring session will be like and what are the things that we're looking for. So firstly, we will be having a session to have you to define your very own philosophy when it comes to teaching. Later on, we will try to understand some guidelines as principles while you are acting to your practices. And also we will be able to talk together to explore beliefs and practices in tutoring, especially there are some moments that can be really complex. So let me just briefly talk about the agenda that we will be covering today. Firstly, it's a student-centered approach, which means that you are going to have a hands-on activity. Firstly, we are going to examine your own beliefs, your philosophy when it comes to teaching, especially in our tutoring session. And then with a direct linkage to the guidelines that our AWC highlights, we're going to take a look at one video and then to reinforce those ground rules of our tutoring session. And then we will be having a great time talking with your colleagues, talked about the beliefs and also all kinds of circumstances that you might encounter in your tutoring session. And then we will be looking back to our very own self-introduction to see that whether we can put some emphasis on revising some of our current ones, because every time when we're having some practices and then we have some reflections, there definitely have some upgrade to do. So we will be having some time tapping on the videos that you made about your self-introduction and also to highlight your very own strengths so that we got a comprehensive palette in this cohort. All right, wrapping up, we will be having, I think it's 5 minutes Q&A session, but no worries. We are always having direct line chat group, so you can have any questions posted there or you can just email me. All right. First one, we want you to write down your tutoring philosophy. Now the philosophy, we all know that it affects a lot of your practices, right? Whether it is experienced tutors or those fresh off the boat tutors, well, you all understand how your philosophy affects your practice and how your practice goes back and affects your philosophy. Here are some examples that I made. You can write things like, a writing or speaking tutor is a collaborator, a critical reader, and a mentor. Or you can write, a writing tutor is not an editor, a teacher, a writing expert, or a content expert. All right? That's my belief. And you can also say, a writing tutor is someone who can provide constructive feedback on how the paper is organized, how well the argument is expressed and supported, and how appropriate the language is for this genre. All right? These are examples for your inspiration. You can definitely have your own. Now we are providing color markers for you, so make sure that you have a great quote of the day. Well, teachers, you know what? The philosophy will evolve. So by the end of the semester, we will be having another chance to look back. And then by that time, maybe your philosophy will be very different from this version. And that is how you grow. And that is the most exciting part. As a tutor, you're not just giving out everything you have. You also grow, right? With the practice. And I think that is the best part. Well, all right. Thank you. Later on, we will be having more activities. And starting from this point, you actually draw out some of your thinking based on how do you think about the a tutor might be, and that gives you a picture, delineate the picture of your future job. And to move on, I'd like to show you a video that will be looking at some guidelines as a tutor for AWC.
Hello, welcome to the Writing Center. How can I help with your writing today? Hi, I'm working on this research paper for my sociology class, and I'm feeling a bit lost. I have all these ideas, but I'm not sure how to organize them and to get my point across clearly.
I'm here to assist you. To start, can you tell me a bit about your writing process and what you've been feeling about this assignment?
Well, I have done a lot of research and I have gathered a ton of information about social inequality, but when I sit down to write, it just feels overwhelming. I want to make sure my paper really speaks to the issues I've discovered.
I'd appreciate you sharing that with me. It sounds like you are passionate about the topic and want your paper to have a strong impact. To help you better, could you show me the assignment prompt? That way, I can understand the expectations and requirements.
Sure, here it is. The prompt asks us to analyze how social inequality manifests in a specific community and discuss its effects on individual and society.
Thanks for sharing that. It gives me a clearer picture of what you need to accomplish. Now, since you are the one working on this assignment, would you like to set the agenda for our session? What would you like to focus on today?
I think I need help with both organizing my thoughts and improving the clarity of my writing. But maybe we should start with organization since that's been my main struggle.
That sounds like a good plan. Let's address the organization first. Based on what you have told me, the first issue that seems to obstruct effective communication is the overwhelming amount of information. How about we work on breaking down your points into clear sections and creating an outline?
That would be really helpful. I think I have been trying to include everything at once, and it's been tough to make it coherent.
Perfect. Let's work on that together. As we go through each section, I'll help you think about how to transition between ideas and create a logical flow. Additionally, as we discuss your points, I'll ask questions to deepen your understanding of how they connect and contribute to your thesis.
Well, I appreciate that. I want to make sure my paper makes sense and is engaging to the reader.
Absolutely. And by focusing on understanding and clarity, we will be on the right track. I won't write on your paper, proofread, or make substantial content suggestions, but I'll guide you through revising and improving your work. Remember, this is your paper, and my goal is to help you become a better writer overall.
Thank you so much for your approach. I have been other writing centers where they just edit my paper without really helping me understand how to improve.
You're welcome. I believe in empowering writers to not only produce better work, but also develop their skills. Let's start by going through your points and creating a solid outline. As we progress, feel free to ask questions, suggest changes, and actively participate in the process.
I'm looking forward to it. This already feels like a much more collaborative and educational experience.
I'm glad to hear that. Let's dive in and make your paper the best it can be, while also enhancing your writing skills along the way. And remember, if there's ever a situation where we need to adjust our approach to meet your needs, we can use our professional judgment to do so.
All right, thank you very much. Why don't you work with your table and then look through the checklist and find out what does it fit to this consultation process. All right. I think you have some discussion. Let's review this one more time quickly. First one, listen to what the writers tell you about their writing process, about their feelings, about their vision of the particular assignment they have brought to the center. Did you check it? Do you agree that? Yeah? You agree with that? Thank you. Ask to see the assignment prompt. Right? Always let your duty to say that the pursuit of the day, alright? Okay. And then let the writers set the agenda for the session. Sometimes they are just here to be here, and that's quite annoying, right? So let them speak because they need to take the initiatives. Address the first issue or issues that most obstruct the act of communication. Prioritize it, right? And then if the writers want to focus on the less crucial element, advise them of the issue that most get in the way of the communication and suggest that you work on that first. Okay? That might be the skill. Keep writers actively involved in the tutoring process. Did you check that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. And then focus on deepening the writer's understanding rather than just improving the work. Right? I know we are writing experts, we know how to write very well, but our students don't. But to not make them too dependent, that we were talked about, like the pros and cons of how we should engage or intervene into what kind of degree. We focus on deepening writer's understanding. Okay? Do not write on the writer's paper. Did you check that? But if necessary, that's your professional judgment, all right? If you think that's something that they really need. It's always a good idea that you have an extra paper to write on the extra paper. Do not proofread or edit on paper. Did you check it? Do you agree?
Yes.
Well, there are a lot of, debates based on that, right? There are a lot of debates. There are pros and there are cons, okay? Depends on your professional judgment. Well, if you actually proofread for your student, you can instantly prove the quality for sure, and you can actually give student another kind of learning opportunity. That's no problem. And then it's time saving and increased confidence because when they walk out of the room, well, they got things being polished, right? That's a good sign, but well, it will increase their dependency because they eventually we want them to be independent writers, right? So we want them to have their independence. So that is the thing. And the second one would be the loss of ownership, right? They are the person who talks, right? We let them talk. And ethical concerns or missed learning opportunities or unequal access. Well, things like that are some, possible cons that when we are thinking about whether we should proofread on our students' paper or not. All right, but that's your professional judgment. You can decide when to or when not to. All right. Okay. Well, there are a lot of more complex situations might happen in your session because apparently the video is just a teaching video. It's not real. So there has to be some times that you all experience that students come to your session and they got some very overwhelming questions or they are kind of emotional, things like that. Well, those are the things that we can always support you along the way. No problem, just let us know, all right? But make sure that you have your philosophy and that you know the ground rules to set forth. I think that will be a very good kickstart, all right? So that's just for you to review some of the principles. And we really want to, don't make substantial suggestions on the content. Now here the content we talked about is about the discipline, is about the research area that students bring in, right? Those contents may not be something that we really know, right? We're not advisors, so we just look through the writing process and ask them to point out what might be the problem they want to solve with the writing process. Use professional judgment. All right. And then we want to hear from you. We would like you to talk about some complex situations with some scenarios. Now you may get a little piece of paper where address a question. And then with that piece of paper, there's a number on it. You go for the table that write with the number and then you sit down. With your new partners, you're going to talk about some questions all together. Well, thank you discussion. You know what? I also learned a lot from you because I overheard a lot of examples, real examples happening in your consultations, and they are brilliant, in-depth experiences which can give us a lot of insights. And with this kind of discussion, we are actually cascading our knowledge all together, right? The knowledge that between your own knowledge and also the praxis. So I think that is worth of listening. Can we hear from every table? Let's start from question number 1. We would like to hear from every table so that we also get some inspirations as well. All right, shall we start from this table? What fundamental principles guide your tutoring approach? How do you navigate the balance between providing adequate assistance and allowing writers to develop their skills? What do you say? Thank you, Michelle.
What did we talk about?
Oh yeah, a lot.
We talked about a lot of things. So let's start with what I did. One of my fundamental principles is asking questions because sometimes we tend to talk too much and we don't listen as much. So I try to ask students a lot of questions so that they could get some sort of direction of what they are writing or where we are going. And confidence building is also another one of my guiding principle. Because a lot of the students, they come in, they always come, like what Rachel said, my English is bad. They always come here like, hi, my name is blah blah, my English is shit, so can you please help me? Every time. So, but basically their English proficiency is not bad, it's good. But then we need to sort of change that sort of mindset, but of course take time. So that's my fundamental principles. And as for navigating the balance, we did talk about how hard it is to actually achieve this goal within 15 minutes. Ideally speaking, of course, we would like to. But then Anthony mentioned something about developing capacity and something. Would you like to?
Yeah, you got it. Developing one's capacity to carry learning forward and to be creative in their thinking. What's your name? Joshua had a good example of comparing papers with like a natively written one and then theirs, and they can use that practice later on their own to highlight and code to developing that study skill.
Yeah.
That is good one.
Wonderful, everyone. Thank you so much. Let's move on to question number 2. During the writing process, when do you believe it's suitable for tutors to step in to offer guidance or support?
Yes, so in our table we had ideas. 2 of them are new tutors, so we have less experience in terms of the writing process. I mean, for me, the writing process maybe comes a little bit later in the process of like drafting assignments, etc. So maybe I would first try to, and also we say that it's really important to first maybe ask them about their goals. Right. First to have an idea about how we can structure the session, and also they can also upload the file beforehand, before the actual appointment. This is something that we didn't know, and that comes in very handy for us to maybe prepare in advance. But also we said maybe we can say that we can step in anytime depending on the actual. Every session is different, and every student's goals as well. So it's writing process is, I would say, can encompass a lot of like issues and things to do. So I don't know if you want to add into or no.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, any other guidance about
Well, you know what? The beauty of teaching actually resides in the practice. And I appreciate how Yijing actually provide a lot of insights to you so that you instantly pick up, oh, this is how you do it, and this is how I'm going to do it, right? Very nice. Thank you so much. All right. I regret that we don't have enough of time to hear from every one of you. Sorry, let me just move on to the last group. Do you think different levels of intervention applies in different situations?
Okay, so from my point of view, I think because in the very beginning of the session, we usually want to listen to this story of this assignment, probably the requirement from instructors. Or from when it is due, yes. Probably due tomorrow, so there's nothing we can do, right? Or we have to submit by midnight. So you come here, and so we want to hear the story. So so probably you want to make a major improvement of his assignment, but sometimes time is not possible. So we have to make the intervention. We have to focus on more obvious errors. Yes. So usually grammatical errors. Because there's no time for you to rewrite a whole paragraphs. So that's when we make the call.
Yeah, reduce the reader's effort, right? Yes, that's always a very good strategy. Time constraint, right? That decide different levels of intervention. Practical, very good. Thank you very much for everyone's contribution. You know, we love to hear from you. It is because of your practice, make your insights, and we all learn a lot from those insights. Well, I'm sorry to be this rushed, but I really want us to have a start, and then that could have a comprehensive, start off with the beliefs all the way to your strength. So the last part is to identify and highlight your strength. And what are your strengths? There are actually a lot of strengths being noted in the Tutor's Training Handbook. If you have at hand, if you have the copy. Well, while you're getting those copies, let me just tell you that, well, these strengths that you can look for are actually something that students need while they come into the consulting session. It's just that we break them down into smaller parts. Okay? Yes, it's in page 40 to 72. That's a long part. But you can have a quick glance. Where there are knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Well, you can have a quick glance over it. You're not going to do it today. You can also do it the other day while you have some time. That's from page 40. Yes. See, these are actually a comprehensive list of what tutors can do in your session. And then, while reading at them, you can check some of your strengths over there. And then, what I want you to do is to look back the sub-introduction that you just made, because some of you have made this some time ago, right? So maybe if you revisit it, and by looking at this strength, if you want to have a level up, that will be much appreciated. It is because that we want to let our students also understand that we got different tutors with different strengths, so that they can find the appropriate person to go to, right? And then with that, you can also tell your students who come into a session, telling them that, because my strength is this, so from my perspective, this is the suggestions that I am going to give, right? So encourage them to use, our service in all kinds of ways to help them to be more responsible. Saying that I'm not just going to a tutor and the tutor will fix all. That is not the truth, right? That is not the truth. We all know that. So, well, originally this session is, I want you to have a session to look into each other's video clips. I am ashamed that we are running out of time, so we're not going to do that. But maybe you can do that later. And then by watching them, you can share your feedback. After the session, with page 38 to 40, there is a script of enhancement as a template for your reference. You can take a look at that and try to revise your current self-introduction video script, okay? Well, if you think it's already good enough, and that's no problem at all, right? But if you think that, well, there's something that you really want to highlight it, well, that will be something that we highly appreciate, all right? And then I'm afraid that we are right enough time with this session, but this is a kind reminder that if you can revisit your self-introduction and then let us know if there's possible revision, we'll be very happy to hear that. All right, with the last 10 minutes, I just want to recap something. The first thing is that the whole process of your tutoring session is a process writing session. All right? Meaning that you're there to give them guidance instead of stepping in their writing, okay? And so it's a student-centered approach. It's what we did today, right? It's all about how you start with your point of view, how you start with your angle, right? So it's very different from everybody else, and it's okay to be like that, all right? It's okay to be like that, all right? And the self-introduction part. The third part that we want to highlight is that we want to promote the effective software usage, where we opened up 5 computers there with the software IntelliWriter and Sketch Engine. We logged in with those computers there. Feel free to stay and try out and to see whether they can be helpful tools in your tutoring session. All right. And then, since that we got the tutor training handbook being sent to your mailbox, we hope that you can take some time and read into those. We want to provide ample examples and also guidelines for you, especially when you are tutoring. It is always a great chance whether you encounter some certain degrees of challenges, and then you read through some of the possible ideas in it, and then you get some inspirations. Other than that, feel free to contact us if you got any, things that you need our help or report. All right? The tutoring handbook that will be something that we want to present to you as scaffolding along the way. Now we have less than 10 minutes. We just want to hear from you if you got any questions or any feedback based on today's session. Yes, Bob?
If I choose to update my self-introduction, is there a deadline for completing the update?
I think that you can work on your own pace, no worries. Okay. Yeah, but since the students are making reservations, they may want to know you more because it's the start of the semester, the time. Yeah, but it's okay. So don't worry too. If you, we will try to manage a kind of format to highlight different strengths of our tutors. Okay, we will highlight that some of the tutors has expertise in this area, in that, things like that, so the students can have a clear understanding. We're working on that part as well. So take your time to revise that, and if you need us to support you, no worries, just let us know. And you can also use this space to record if you find this place appealing. Right, no problem. Thank you so much. Yes?
Follow-up question?
Yes.
Am I loud enough? Okay. Not internally, is there like an external video we can watch as like a perfect example of what you're looking for an introduction video? Because I can read this and I can compare it to mine and then maybe think of something, but if there's, does that make sense?
I think that makes sense, and that makes a very ideal situation. Unfortunately, we're not having that right now,
Okay.
but that is a very good
Just to see
idea.
what you're looking
yes,
for?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
I thought your video was really good.
Yeah, your video is really good. Well, I think that you all have. So he's pushing us to say,
Well,
let's
if you
look
need
at
one,
the
that's
easy
really
stuff.
To say it, it's true, right?
Well, I think, well, don't get me wrong, you all have very good videos already. You all have very good videos already. It's just that we really want to think about what might be the possible distribution of our talents, and to help our students to understand that each tutors have their very own strength. So they are not here and it got everything fixed. Okay, we're just trying to let them know the nature of writing, and also to explicitly to demonstrate how a writing process could be within various styles when you work with different people, things like that. All right. Well, that is also a very good part. We are going to work on that. In fact, we are going to work on a lot of things. We want to work on, the demo videos of teaching session in real setting, real consultation setting, not just in like fake one, right? Tutorial one. No, we really want to do that. That is why Tony just said that we want to invite you to be, we also have other videos to make, but we really want to take some real, genuine footages from your session and to highlight that the beauty of your consultation. So that is also something that we need to work on. Thank you for the wonderful question.